Hi, everybody. Teachers Danek here. The Premier League is just around the corner, which can only mean one thing. The Learn English with Football YouTube show is back, baby. That's right. And today I'm gonna tell you about the changes that I have decided to make and also about the Fantasy Premier League, which I would like you to start playing and competing against me, my guests on the show, and other viewers of this YouTube channel. So, I mean, this is something like a pre-season or a prequel to Learn English with Football because normally, as you know, this show is broadcast every Monday at 8 p.m. Central European time. And I think I'm going to keep it that way. But I'll tell you about that later. But in fact, the Premier League is almost here because tomorrow, I believe it's sometime in the evening, there is the first game, Crystal Palace against my team, Arsenal. So we are almost there. I know some of you can't wait for this moment. I certainly am buzzing for it. I'm really excited. And yeah, I have missed the Premier League. I have to say, it was nice to take a little break, but I have also missed it. So it's here, and we have a lot of interesting stuff to look forward to. Some new players, some really exciting signings, and some usual players as well. Now, the questions are: will Manchester City win again, or will Liverpool manage to challenge for the title? Are there going to be any new players, any new title contenders? What about the newly promoted teams? How about Nottingham Forest? How exciting will it be to watch this um, basically giant of football coming back after so many years of being in the championship? So many things to unravel, so many things to look forward to. And I would like this YouTube channel to be part of that excitement. I would like to keep doing the live shows as I used to do them with my guests, and I would like to give you the opportunity to learn English through these videos as well. I will do it in a slightly different way, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's talk about the changes then. Um, am I going to keep a similar format to uh, what I was doing last year? Yes, I would think so. I mean, I would like to keep the traditional, the usual segments. That is, the matches we have seen, the heroes of the week, the villains of the week. I think that worked pretty well. Obviously, we will discuss the highlights as we did our highlights of the week, especially with the emphasis on the teams of the guests, right? So, of obviously my favorite teams, which are at the moment, as you know, Arsenal and West Ham United. And then, obviously, if I invite a Manchester United fan on the show, I expect that person to talk about Manchester United and the Manchester United match. So I'm gonna keep the same format because I think it works the best. I think the fans who support their teams are very passionate about them, and it gives you this wonderful insight into the brain of a football supporter and the emotions they go through. And I think it's priceless, and that's what makes this show interesting because we have all these different guests supporting all different teams, and it makes it exciting. It adds to the banter. I would always like banter to be part of this show. I would like um, us to make fun of each other in a nice way, how friends do, and this should be part of this. Obviously, you viewers, I think it's going to be live again. So if it's live, of course, you can get involved in the comments. It can be interactive. We will answer some of the comments you're making. Of course, we will respond. That is the part of the show. That is the part and parcel of the show, of course. So that's going to be happening. I'm just going to quickly check if I am recording using the right microphone, and it seems to be all fine. I got a bit scared there for a second. Anyway, um, regarding the guests, I have got a WhatsApp group for my guests. So if you feel like you could be one of the people contributing to this content, ideally, if you are an English teacher or someone who has a really good command of the English language, I mean, really good, C2 level, okay, native speaker or C2 level English, then rest assured, I would like to have you on the show as long as you're interested in football and specifically in the Premier League and you have things to say. I'm always welcome to add you to the WhatsApp group, the private WhatsApp group that I have. And yeah, as always, it depends on my guest availability. No one is forced to come on. No one is paid for this anyway. So all I can offer is a little bit of publicity. I will always give my guests a plug if they have their own YouTube channels or an Instagram account or anything they would like to promote. I'm always up for that. But obviously, it is about the guests themselves, whether they want to participate or not. I'm always welcome to, I'm always happy to welcome new faces, of course, but at the same time, I have to say that loyal regulars from last season's show have are always high on the priority list. I'm gonna invite them, obviously, um, as a priority, I guess, because they have deserved this position. I mean, it's logical, isn't it? It's like when a player plays for a club for a long time, you have to reward them for the loyalty as well. So anyway, each week I always hope to get at least one guest so that I don't have to do this by myself, just by myself alone in the darkness. I don't want to be that kind of person. But ideally, we will always have up to three guests because that's, I think, the maximum. Three guests is maximum I can handle. And obviously, these guests will change. It will also depend on the matches. If there is an exciting match for a specific team, I might, be inclined to invite the supporter of that team, and so on and so forth. Regarding the time, as always, I aim for about 45 to 60-minute show. Sometimes last year I went over 1 hour. This time is not set in stone, okay? But I think it will always be more than 45 minutes and sometimes 60, maybe 70 minutes. It really depends on how much we have to say and how talkative and chatty my guests are on the day. Uh, Although I have to say, one big change regarding how I want to do things um, concerns the vocabulary. I've been explaining vocabulary, football vocabulary on the show. Yeah. And I always did it directly in the show. Whenever my guests or I said something interesting, I would explain it. Yeah. I have decided to change this format a bit. And from this season on, I'm going to scrap this idea. And instead, I will record another video each week, a short video where I explain, let's say, 5 to 8 phrases, idioms, phrasal verbs, whatever I consider interesting and useful for the viewers of this channel to learn. I will um, make a new video, a short one. It shouldn't be very long, maybe maximum 10 minutes long. And in this video, I will be explaining that vocabulary. We will see if I manage to add clips from the actual show. I think it would be the best, but it depends like how much time and effort it will take me to make these videos because making videos can be a really long process. That's why I also appreciated the fact that I could do these shows live because it's a little bit less work for me. Okay. Um, Anyway, one of the questions obviously has been, is this show going to be live again? And I have to say that probably yes. I admit I have been toying with the idea of not doing this live because I thought maybe I could edit things and perhaps it would be kind of more convenient for the guests because sometimes, they're not able to make it because of this regular time that we have set. But I think I am leaning towards 8 p.m. every Monday, as it was before, just to keep that rhythm that we had, the momentum that we gained last year. I think I want to keep it that way for now, at least. If anything changes, you will be the first ones to know, of course. Um, so, as I said, guests will be invited via a private group, a private WhatsApp group, or in a private message as well. Right now that this is out of the way, I would like to talk about the Fantasy Premier League, also known as FPL. What is this? I hear you asking. Well, it's something that I would like you guys to join and to start playing with me and my guests and other viewers of this channel. It is a cool game that you can play on um, fantasy.premierleague.com. Let me put it up on the screen here in a comment. Where do I do that? Oh, I see. I can't do this here actually. Well, you heard me right, yeah? fantasy.premierleague.com. You will also find a link in the description of this video. And don't worry, this is not a gambling thing. It's You're not gonna gamble. You don't have to pay a single penny for this. It's a free game that every single one of you can play. However, you may get a similar feel and thrill to this game as you might get when gambling. So if you like a little bit of, let's say, betting or gambling, this could give you a similar feel, although there's no money involved in it. Um, there are prizes. There are prizes you could win if you do really well. But I have to tell you, it is really hard to be the best. The best players, they they are very experienced, and they also get lucky sometimes. There is a lot of luck involved in this game, but it's not all luck. There's a lot of skill as well. So you have to combine luck and skill. And if you don't have either of these two, you don't stand a chance. But you can still enjoy the game, even if you don't end up in the, let's say, top half of of the standings. I played this game first time ever last season and I really loved it. I have to say it was a great experience, and it made the experience of watching the Premier League richer for me. It just made it more interesting and exciting and more fun. I have to say it did, especially watching the results of the other teams that I would normally not be interested in. Suddenly, I wanted to see how the teams did and which players scored and so on. So I've decided to make the Fantasy Premier League part of this show. uh, I would like to I would like it to be one of the segments of the show. It will be the last segment each week. And if my guests are not into this, if they don't play the league, they can leave, obviously, before I do this last segment. Or if any of you don't want to watch this last part of the video of the show, you can also obviously leave at any point. But those of you who want to watch it till the end, those of you who are interested in the Fantasy League, those of you who are considering joining, then you will like this. I think you will like this a lot. So I am gonna be inviting the guests who haven't played this game yet. Obviously, I'm gonna tell them about the Fantasy League in the WhatsApp group I have, and I would like them to come on board. To pick their team and to make their team, or as they say, to draft their team, and we will have our own mini league within this Fantasy Premier League, because there are several mini leagues you can play. For example, you can play a mini league of all the supporters that support your team. Let's say Arsenal mini league. Then you can have a mini league of all your friends or co-workers, or the options are limitless. And I would like to have a mini league called Teachers Denek, which will be mini league dedicated to this channel. So I did the same last year. Hopefully, we will have more players of this league to make it a little bit more challenging. I actually have to say, uh, it's a humble comment from me. I have to say I won the mini league last year, just barely, because Paul Paul Ramsey, obviously the Liverpool fan, did really well, and until the last round, it wasn't clear which one of us was going to win, but it was me in the end, which made me really happy since it was my first time playing this game. But obviously, this season could be completely different. But I'm up for the challenge, and I think it will be a lot of fun. Um, basically, you guys have 1 day. Okay, now I'm publishing this video on Thursday, and you have about 1 day to sign up for this league, to register at that website I told you about, fantasy.premierleague.com, to start drafting your team. Because if you do it after the Premier League match, you will basically miss the actually 1 hour before the first Premier League match, which is Crystal Palace Arsenal tomorrow, is the deadline. So if you create your team later, it's still possible, but you will miss that first round, which you could still catch up because there will be a lot of rounds, but you will have a little disadvantage, but you can still do it. You will still enjoy it even if you, let's say, register 1 week after this. Yeah. So how do you play this game? So actually, the way it works is that you have £1 million budget. This is not real money. This is imaginary money. And each Premier League player, each real Premier League player has got a price tag. Uh, each Premier League player has a certain value. It depends on how many points they are able or they are expected to make. So they have certain algorithms that calculate that. So, for example, I think the best player or the most valuable player in the Premier League currently is Mohamed Salah. Yeah, the Liverpool player. I think he's worth £13 million. He's one of those that we call big hitters. He's able to produce a lot of points, and he has been doing it consistently season after season. So those players are the most expensive ones. And then you have like cheaper players as well, or players in the mid price range. And you have to pick 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, 3 strikers, and that's it. But you won't be able to afford all players like Salah, because you only have £100 at disposal, £100 million at disposal. So what you have to do is that you have to come up with a good mix of some more expensive players with some less expensive players. And this can give you sometimes a headache, but it's what makes this game interesting, because you will have your own unique team that you will be building. And this team is not forever. Of course, every week you can make little changes. You can transfer some players out and then get some new players into your team. So how do you get points? So each week you get points based on the real-time matches, yeah, the real Premier League. So in the actual game, you get points for what the real-time players do, how many goals they score, how many assists they make, and also like how many minutes they play. I believe if you play at least 1 minute, you get 1 point. If your player plays at least 60 minutes, you get 2 points per player. Also, if you're looking at defenders, goalkeeper, they get also a lot of points for clean sheets. Yeah. So if I think it's 5, is it 5 or 4? I can't remember. I think goalkeeper it is 5 points. For defenders it's 4 points, but I could be wrong. And midfielders also get 1 extra point for clean sheets. Then there are some bonus points for being the best players in that match. And so you have a team made from all these different players. You can have up to 3 players from one single team. So which means you cannot have all players, let's say, from Manchester City team. It's against the rules. You can have up to 3 Manchester City players, and then you will have 2 players from Liverpool. Then you might have 1 player from Chelsea, 1 player from Aston Villa. That is up to you. You have to balance it out nicely, and of course, spend as much money as you can to get the best players. Yeah, you can look at their statistics. You can also see how many other players that play the Fantasy Premier League. By the way, they are called managers. We are referred to as Fantasy Premier League managers. How many other managers basically pick those players? For example, Mohamed Salah is one of the most picked players. Also, Gabriel Jesus, the new Arsenal marquee signing is one of the most picked players. I've got Gabriel Jesus in my team, but not Mohamed Salah this time. Not this time. Last year I did have him. He was fantastic, but I wanted to try something new this time. Also, what you have one free transfer each week, uh, which means that you can swap one player for another one of similar price. But if you don't do that, if you don't use your transfer, the week after you will have two transfers available. So it's like a rolling transfer. However, that's where it stops. You cannot have more than two free transfers at one time. Now, you can make more transfers if you want, but each additional transfer will cost you 4 points, which is a lot of points. But sometimes you might want to do it because your players get injured or suspended, or just they are just out of form. So you might have to like tweak your team, even if it means you have to um, take take a loss. What do they call it? You have to. I don't know. There's a special expression they use. Um, I can't remember now, but basically, you have to just sacrifice those points sometimes. You know, sometimes you want to give your players more time, because if they don't do in week one, there is something they call a knee jerk reaction. So if the players don't like, let's say you have a big player like Haaland, yeah, I have this player. If they don't score a goal, or they get 1 point or 2 points only, you're like, oh my god, I have this expensive player not producing any points. But you might want to wait until next week. Maybe it will start getting better. Also, you should look at the matches that each of these players in your team um, uh, uh, you should look at the teams they are going to play against, because of course, if for example a team has a really difficult run out, like let's say if Arsenal plays against Manchester United, Manchester City, and Chelsea and West Ham in 1 month, you don't want to have any Arsenal players at that period of time. So you have to look at what matches uh, these players are going to play and which opponents they're going to face. That should determine your choice. That you should plan it a little bit as well. But you can also just, just do it. Just make your team for fun. You don't have to worry about this too much. It's up to you, really. Do you really want to take it seriously? Do you just want to have a little bit of fun? You could do either. I don't really mind. Um, then, of course, just to remind you, so this game is played weekly. So before the first match of the week, which is determined by Fantasy Premier League when it is, because it could be a different day, but usually it's let's say Friday. Yeah, 1 hour before is the deadline. Yeah, so you have to make sure, if you want to make your transfers, if you want to pick the team, because yeah, this is something I didn't say. Um, Not all of your players will play in that game week, because you will have 4 players on your bench. You will always have a goalkeeper on the bench, and then it depends on your formation. It could be a striker on the bench. It could be 2 strikers on the bench. It could be one midfielder, or I believe no midfielder, or 2 midfielders on the bench. It depends on your formation. You could be playing three. What is it? 3-4-3. You could be playing 5-3. 5-3-1. Is this correct? 5-3. No, 5-3-2. You have options. Yeah, that's my that's my point. Also, if you want to take it really seriously, there are podcasts like the official FPL podcast, or other podcasts, or also YouTube channels where people really talk about this a lot, and you can learn from what they have to say. It will be a great opportunity for you to learn English as well, I have to say. Also, you have a few chips at disposal. What are chips? Chips are like additional, let's say, mm, additional. I don't know what to call it. Like additional cards you can play, let's say. And um, before I get into chips, I should explain that each week you also pick your captain and your vice captain. And the captain is really important, because the captain will score you double the number of points. So, for example, if the player you choose to be a captain scores 8 points, and this player is your captain, they will have 16 points. So you want to choose that player carefully, and you want to make one of those big hitters like Salah, Son, Harry Kane, or someone like that. You want to make them the captain because they give you a very good chance of scoring a lot of points, and then you double your points. This is extremely important, this choice. Every week you can choose a different captain. Now, going back to those chips, one of the chips you can play, and it's only once a season, is called triple captain. This means that the points for this captain are tripled instead of doubled. And that's only for one week. Now, sometimes what happens is that you have double game weeks. What does that mean? It means that previously one of the matches is, let's say, postponed, and then uh, that team plays two matches in that week. Now, what does that mean? It means that you have a bigger chance of getting a lot of points. So you might want to save those chips that I'm talking about, including the triple captain chip for that double game week. So usually it doesn't happen at the beginning of the season. Now, another one of those chips is called free hit. A free hit is a chip which allows you to make a completely new team, but it's only for 1 week. So after that 1 week, you go back to your old team. Yeah, but you can score a lot of points if you play it in the right way. Yeah, because you might want to change your team completely if those players play some difficult matches. You might want to go for that free hit, or again, you might want to do it in that double game week. Then there is wild cards. I believe there are 2 wild cards, and I mean possibly there are even 3 wild cards this season because so they made a change because of the World Cup. The Premier League is going to be interrupted by the World Cup in Qatar. So I believe there might be 3 wild cards, but I'm not completely sure about it. Anyway, what's a wild card? Well, wild card allows you to change your team completely, to completely redo your team. But unlike in free hit, this team will stay. So I believe this is the most valuable chip, the most important chip, and you want to do it if you feel like your team is not bringing you the points they should, or if you just need to change things around, and you do need to do that at some point. Believe me, it's very important. But sometimes you could also get it wrong, this wild card. So you just have to wait for the right moment. Yeah. If you start your season off badly, you might want to do it at the beginning as well, or some people just save it, you know, to the later stages of the season. It really depends. It's hard to say when you should play your wild card because everybody's team is different. And then the last chip is called bench boost. Bench boost, I believe it's my least favorite chip. Basically means that you get points for your bench. Usually my bench is not very good because I don't normally have a strong bench. By the way, how does the bench work? Well, like I said, 4 players have to be on the bench. And if any of the players that you pick for the main team, for the starting 11, any of them don't end up playing in that round, then instead they will be replaced by uh, the players from your bench who play in the same position. So let's say you pick a goalkeeper and he doesn't play due to an injury, then automatically the goalkeeper from your bench will score points instead. But if that goalkeeper you picked plays, then that goalkeeper from the bench will score no points. So that's how it works. Yeah. So another thing I should tell you about is that you join this mini league by clicking a link that I'm going to share with you in the comments. But I'm just going to read out the link now to you in case you don't find it in the comments for some reason. It's fantasy.premierleague.com/leagues/auto dash join slash 6FAFS7. This is the link, but also you can join through a code, which is 6FAFS7. Now, this code is unique to Teachers Denex League, to Teachers Denex Mini League. Is it called Teachers Denex or is it called Teachers Denex YouTube? Something like that. This is my league. This is the league we're going to play. This is where we will compete against each other. This is what will make this interesting because we will be showing each week on the show. I will be showing how we are standing in that league. So whoever is at the top, you will also find yourself there. It's gonna be fun, and we will be able to sort of make fun of each other if we are not doing well, and so on. Yeah, this has always been part of football. Like, we are mates, we are friends who are gonna compete against each other, and this will make it more fun. I hope a lot that some of you will join this mini league, that you will register, you will start playing FPL. Give it a go. If you don't like it, you don't have to worry about it. It's not like you have to do it, because let's be honest, each week you might have to spend at least 20 minutes to prepare your team. Okay, the more you spend on it, the better it is. So it could be 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And if you don't have time for this, you don't want to be bothered, don't worry about it. You don't have to play. But it would be nice if you did, because you would enjoy this, watching this channel and watching the Premier League a bit more. I'm speaking from my experience, and you don't have to watch the matches even. Right. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to tell you. Don't forget the mini league 6FAFS7, and you can create your fantasy Premier League team or at fantasy.premierleague.com. Okay, this is all I wanted to tell you for today. I really look forward to recording the show again, and I can't wait also for those new vocabulary videos. I can't wait for this to get started. You know where to find me. I've got an Instagram account, Teachers Denek. This is my YouTube channel. If this is your first time watching, please subscribe. If you're learning English, you're passionate about football, I think it's a nice place. It's a small channel, but we are growing, and the idea is, of course, to be very consistent, and that's what brings results in the world of YouTube. So hopefully we will have more subscribers as we record these videos. And yeah, fingers crossed. Obviously, you can also find me on Facebook, Teachers Zdenek, or at LinkedIn, Zdenek Lukas. That's my name, Lukas. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching this video, and I look forward to having you on as my guests or as my viewers watching the YouTube videos that I will be making for you. Take care, everybody, and bye.